What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to be going over JP Tuesday. And you know what, guys? Merry Christmas a little bit early. I know that some players, their Christmas is just happening, which is fine. No big deal. But the big thing is I do want to say happy holidays to everybody going around. We will have a market watch tomorrow. I just don't know when. I got a lot of Christmas going on, but hopefully you guys enjoy the videos as well. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and just have a lot of fun. But as you know, we're gonna just dive into the video and talk about it. For the players wondering what sites we use, what I use is Digimon CG Guide, and we use Digimon Meta. They're both great sites that actually pulls a lot of good information to kind of know Evo Cups and stuff like that a little bit more cleanly. I use Digimon Meta to see what bigger events you can pull from. And then, as Digimon CG Guide pulls from every locals, doesn't matter if it's 5 players, doesn't matter if it's like 10 players. I try to get at least the lists that do have the player count, because that's super important to take into verifications. A 4-player locals is not the same as a 7 to 8 player locals, because again, more rounds. So you just got to keep that in mind when you take these into account when you're looking at these. The reason why Digimon is so well, or Gallantmon in general is doing so well, is because at the end of the day, very much a big fan favorite at the local level, but at higher tier competitive events like the Evo Cups and stuff like that are like 32 players, they're not really progressing as high as they should. And that's just reflective of hype for players, the amount of players that want to play the deck, So Digimon sitting at 24, blue armor bodies at 10, purple good stuff 8, Fenry Luga. This is 6, Red Hybrid 6, Nature Spirits at 6, 7 Great Demon Lords at 6, Mirage at 6, Purple Hybrid at 6, Security Control 5, Tomon, Tyranno, Plants, Deep Savers, Nightmare Soldiers, Birds, and so on and so forth. We kind of get a good just looking at it, a good understanding. I mean, let's take even a look at Jellymon. Jellymon probably topped on a lower one that isn't as many players you normally see. Taking a look here, it's Jellymon, of course, and you get a good understanding of looking at what you're gonna see. I mean, this was probably a smaller locals. To be able to top with Jellymon is still kind of interesting, Then, like even I'm saying right now, Gallantmon does well at the local level and will still do well going into bigger events and stuff like that. But something you got to really understand is I definitely think Gallantmon X antibody isn't going to be as expensive as its counterpart Medieval Gallantmon. The reason for that, we'll get into it when we get into seeing more of it, but taking a look at it, the deck's pretty solid. The problem it's going to run into is that you do not have BT19 in Gillomon line. You do not have any of that, and that's going to hurt you a little bit because a lot of it gets the strength it needs from the BT19 stuff, and you lose out on the Takato from it as well. And players that are wondering with Gallantmon which one you would prefer, you want to have Protoform over X antibody. Protoform just lets you evolve properly and just continue with a reduced Digi-evolution. Remember, reduce is better than anything, so just keeping that in mind when you are deck building and stuff like that. This one's a big one here too. Being able to do 3 rounds, one against Red Hybrid versus Takamazuchi and Digimon X, Gallantmon. This is something to take a look at here. This one is playing the LMN Crimson, I think it's Crimson's memory boost. So it's able to search out basically everything in the deck that is red and black. So you're not going to miss any very small targets. And then you can also use the wisdom training to dig as well. But this one if it's being able to take on Takamazuchi, Red Hybrid, and Dukemon, maybe it's worth taking a spin at your local level and seeing if it can actually do some damage. I think that's pretty good to see, especially as it's everything we have access to. And I really wanted you guys to see this because sometimes having full access to a deck might be a game changer. And I think this might be worth taking into consideration for your deck building. I think I want to take MedievalGallantmon and do quite well with it, and you're telling me I can do well with it with this? Maybe I might. So just something to think about at the end of the day, and I think this has a lot of potential. Diaboromon did some local shenanigans at 6 players. Second place was Balfa Purple Hybrid. We'll probably see that in a minute, but Diaboromon, just being Diaboromon, it's still a good solid deck, and you know, has defensive training. Black, oh Berlin, this is English, this is all English cards, so sometimes you get those into the mix as well. Kind of cool to see. You know, you have Zed MillenniumMon, Quartzmon, and both versions of Armageddonmon in the list, which is not a bad thing. You got plenty of tokens to go for days, and you know, give it a whirl if you guys want to have some fun. I think this is pretty solid. Now let's get into Medieval Dukemon taking first place with, you know, Mother Duke Evo Cups, which is 32 players. We know this is a bigger event and kind of gets you more data here. You know, the Seraphe, Mercurymon just forcing the attacks to happen. This one giving guaranteed blocks, which means Mother can have blocks if you don't see the Shoto. But you know what? You see something big here, MedievalGallantmon. So whenever you play a Digimon, this one's going to activate its when Digivolving effect. So being able to, you may suspend one Digimon, then you may delete one of your opponent's 8,000 DP or lower Digimon. For each of their suspended Digimon, add 3,000 DP to the deletion effect's maximum. And then it's got the Vortex and Alliance, which can lead to being some scary threats because Medieval can attack on the turn it's played, and that just blows everything out of the window, out of the water, to be honest with you. So what's also, they are playing the Ryu that combos really nicely with the Blitz Arm Ace and Justimon X Antibody, which I feel like you do need Blitz Arm Ace in the Ryu to kind of really take advantage of the devices in the deck, which again, I don't see this deck going to exist right away. I think we'll see some sort of variant that has MedievalGallantmon with the black blocker shenanigans that they were trying to do, and it'll kind of be a little similar. What with MedievalGallantmon being one of these cards that just seems like you are not playing anything less than 4 of, and if you're going to be teching this card in the list, is kind of crazy. You know, that means it's going to be more sought after, and I'm going to be honest with you, I think MedievalGallantmon's going to be like a $50 plus card. Wouldn't put it past it just because of how much it just is super splashable. Taking a look at even second place in the Super TB, second place, which is their bigger event in Taiwan. We have Hexabla, which is the Hexabla Mirage Galaxy deck. You know, they are teching in Gallimon X Antibody in this, so this is something to be a little bit nervous about because they are starting to tech the X Antibody in general, but they have the Wisteria Memory Boost and Blue Scrambles in the list to kind of just get the Lunamon back, and especially because what's really nice is if your board is empty and you get the Lunamon to come in at the start of turn, if I remember, before you raise up. So to return 1 blue card from your trash to top deck. If you don't have a Digimon, you may play 1 Digimon with 2000 DP or less. So basically what you're going to guarantee is promote up, Luna bounces itself, gaining you even more memory. It just becomes a really strong loop with the Blue Scramble. And, you know, being able to Digivolve for free is really powerful in general. Even they are teching in Gabubon, Bon's Friendship Ace, and the Mirage Galgamon Burst Mode. So being able to multi-attack, deal with your opponent's threats, especially because you are going to get them up in hand size very comfortably, and boom, you're ready to go. So stuff like this matters, especially in deck building, and we have almost all access, especially once EX-08 comes out. Gallantmon X Antibodies is definitely going to be one of those more decently expensive. And then look at this. I mean, I think I covered this a little bit ago, but just let's take a look. War Greymon, Justy D Reaper plus MD. 3 wins, 0 loss, first place out of 4 people winner. This kind of like I mentioned earlier, Green Ranger, anything like this, something to take into account here is that 4 people locals is different than a 8-person locals, you know. So this deck did quite well, and there's nothing wrong with it, you know, but you are playing 2 MedievalGallantmon, Leopardmon X, and then you have Trubimon Ace. All great cards to see and view, but even taking this into here, the Bellastar Medieval Dukemon, you know, 2B 5-round tournament, first place out of 20, it looks like. So taking a look here, this is Bellastar Medieval Gallant. So this now becomes a deck that is a lot more scarier because now you have Bellastar that's going to come in and deal with threats by using the, you know, famous options that are given to them with the 3 Musketeers, because use the 7 cost options is great. You know, you have Kaiser Leo as well to be able to spam out Heaven's Judgment if you have to Digivolve over your Koichi to do so. And then you have like Mother D Reaper kind of just being protected, and it's all just great stuff. You have like Duskmon helping to change color dynamics, which I don't see all the time being a big thing, but hey, it just another option. And I think maybe it's just because no, you can't Digivolve on top of that, but I mean, hey, if it works, it works. You have Moon Millenniumon in here just to keep those hand size. You know, all great, powerful 7 cost options in the list. And again, a very control-based deck using MedievalGallantmon and Bellastar. So this is stuff you're going to have to take in consideration, especially going forwards in bigger events. And like an Evo Cup first place right off, book off. This is a Lilithmon X antibody with a Beelzemon Blast Mode Ace. You know, again, another strong deck with the Protoform and X antibody line, and they aren't using the, they're using the Ogre Gobbly option if you're trashing cards, which is very commonplace in this deck, and you just take advantage of it. And being able to Digivolve into Lilithmon X antibody, that'll help protect itself, you know, makes you have a really strong going turns, especially with even like just Dobermon X evolving on top of your Gobbly for a reduced cost to 1, and then you pop your trainings and memory boosts to just continue going from there. Once the X antibody's in there, you're just getting reduced Digievolution costs, especially like Lady Devimon X that'll play a body that's blocker retail. So stuff like this starts mattering more and more, and it's just stuff to take a look at, especially when we're coming up to major events. Like this deck can be played now. If I look at it correctly, you can play this deck now and still do well with it. I mean, hey, it's something worth considering. And then you did have another Evo Cup 4 rounds first place, and it was Balphamon Rage Mode and Sleep Mode. Really interesting to have the reload plug-in Q here. One of your opponent's Digimon gains security attack -1 for the turn. Place this as one of your Digimon non-white bottom Digievolution card. When this Digimon would be deleted by battle, place 1 reload Q from this Digimon's Digievolution as a bottom security stack, prevent that deletion. So making it even harder for Balphamon Sleep Mode to get kind of just yeeted. And you have like MedievalGallantmon here, Astramon, you know, the whole drill to get Balfa up, and you're just going to be playing with the lower hand size and just stopping your opponent from really just punishing you. And again, this protection skill is very powerful at the end of the day. So stuff like this is to consider as well when you're deck building and trying to get more cards going, but it's always worth the look. So if you guys need to take a look at any of these lists, Digimon Meta and Digimon CG Guide, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.